When you watch a movie, what do you see? Do you just see colors and shapes on a flat screen? Or is the experience more like seeing through to another time and place, like a set with props and actors? There are a lot of questions that arise when we think about what we actually see on our screens. But the ones I want to focus on here are about computer-generated effects, or computer-generated imagery. CGI has become so widespread and so convincing that most of the time you don't even notice that it's there. But as I'm going to argue, CGI has a weakness that it will never be able to overcome, no matter how good it gets, and it may even destroy two of the things that make movies special to begin with: realism and illusion.
What the hell am I looking at?
In the philosophy of film, the ability of movies to let you see different times and places is called transparency. Some have even argued that transparency means that when you see something in a movie, you really literally see that thing. But we don't have to go that far. All you have to accept is that seeing something in a film or photo gives some kind of special access to other times and places and things. Think about how different the experience is between looking at something in an illustration and the same thing in a photo, or how film footage can work as evidence in a way that animation cannot. So here's one of our premises. Movies offer realism in the form of transparency, allowing us, in some sense, to see through the screen to something real on the other side. And here's the next important claim. Transparency is what makes illusion possible. Imagine that you're looking at a painting of a house. Would it ever make sense to say that the painting has tricked you because you think it's showing you a house, but it's actually showing you something else? Or does it make sense to ask what's to the left or right of the frame? It is possible to ask these questions of movies, because we watch them with the assumption that they're granting us access to reality. Once we lose that assumption, once we lose the effect of transparency or the sense that a screen is a window to a different time and place, then the possibility of illusion disappears.
The process of seeing paintings or seeing anything else is less spontaneous and natural than we tend to believe. A large part of seeing depends upon habit and convention.
So what does this have to do with CGI? Well, one way to think about vision is that seeing something means being in a kind of contact. With practical effects, the artist does their work prior to the process of filming. The illusion is created, and the camera just puts us in contact with it. If the work is convincing enough, we can apply the right layer of fictional belief, and the effect is successful. But with CGI, the chain of contact between viewer and what they're supposed to be viewing can be broken, especially when what is on screen is 100% computer generated. In those cases, perceptual contact is impossible, because there's not even anything to be in contact with. In other words, practical effects build fictions from real things, but CGI is often just fiction all the way down, with no underlying truth or basis in reality. Of course, if the quality is high enough, total CGI can still fool us, but only so long as we assume that we're looking at mostly actual footage. CGI often fails when it becomes too obvious that we're seeing a completely animated scene. The general risk is that as CGI overtakes more and more of what we see on screen, we might lose the basic assumption that when we enter a movie theater, we're about to see mostly transparent film footage. The fundamental way that we perceive movies could change, and transparency could be lost. If this happens, we stand to lose what made movies amazing in the first place: realism. Not a realism based on the quality of the image, but on a kind of trust between viewer and medium. And once there is no trust, then we can never be fooled, because we'll always have our guard up, and the possibility of illusion will then be lost. So there you have it, my argument that the pursuit of realism and illusion through CGI could just be self-defeating, and end up replacing the screen as window with just more pictures. But what do you think? How do you experience CGI compared to practical effects? And is it helping or hurting your movie watching experience? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.
The television screen is the retina of the mind's eye. Therefore, the television screen is part of the physical structure of the brain.